What's up and welcome back. I brought you back. Oh, we're going to have zingers like that in here. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today we're going to dive into Bring Her Back. This is from the Philippou brothers, also known as Raka Raka, YouTubers who successfully parlayed their YouTube experience into films, notably with Talk to Me and now with Bring Her Back. And is the world better for it? I don't know, but A24 is going to keep giving them things to do, and we're going to talk about it. This has audio description done by Deluxe, narrated by Laura Post. So go ahead and click like and subscribe because I'm a blind film critic, and yeah, I'm creating a cult following here on YouTube. That's what I'm doing. We're joining in so we can bring others back. I told you I have zingers prepared, like one after the other. It's going to be a really depressing. This movie was really depressing. Uh, I'm gonna try to just not spoil the movie because I think ultimately, even how I have sort of like visceral reactions to the film, uh, there's a lot that you have to discover for yourself. There's a lot that I think maybe even the unsettling trailer, even if that's what you sort of have in mind for yourself, that the film sort of goes in directions. I'm not 100% sure that most people won't guess where the film is headed, but it still has enough twists along the way, bumps in the road, so to speak, that you'll be surprised. It's not really a jump scare movie, but it kind of is. I think what the Philippou brothers are doing here is they're taking the idea, the concept of horror. Like we talk about horror as a genre, and oftentimes we use that to mean scary movies. And they end up being these like sort of horrifying things in a very sort of typical way. There's something that's very unnerving and unsettling about watching Bring Her Back. It's uncomfortable the whole time. It's a different kind of horrifying. It's the kind of horrifying that you get from watching a war movie, where it's not necessarily in the genre and you're like, oh God, that actually happens to people in real life. It has a lot of that to it, but obviously stretched more out of war and into this. The cast, we've got Billy Barrett is the lead here. He's a young actor from Craven the Hunter. And Sarah Wong was sort of the reason I wanted to see this because she's playing a blind character. She's a blind actress herself, a visually impaired actress herself. I believe she is blind in one eye, and then her character is blind, almost blind, and can only see shapes. Like her vision is super decreased and she can't really make anything out. She sort of just lives and sees shapes. She can't see any definition, like lights and shadows and those kind of things. So super creepy for a horror movie. We've got Jonah Ray Phillips, who plays another little boy here called Ollie, and Sally Hawkins, the wonderful and illustrious Sally Hawkins, who's been gifted a role to remember. Those are kind of like the main four. There's also like the fifth character would probably be the the agent that puts them, the kids go into foster care. So the non-spoiler thing is that because it's the inciting incident that you would need to have the rest of the film work. So sorry, this is the spoiler that you have to have because you're here. Is that what happens is that the father for Billy's character, whose name I forgot, and Piper, which is so easy to remember. Piper, no. Anybody named Piper right now is having a moment. Um, so those two, I want to say his name is Andy, but I don't know if that's true. uh, and they lose their father. They are step siblings, um, and they're a little bit apart in age gap. He's about to age out of the system. Obviously, this takes place in Australia. I should say that because uh, you know they're Australian filmmakers. Sally Hawkins is an Australian. Anyway, um, they're about to age out of the system. He is, and he also has a little bit of a past that makes the social worker not want to necessarily pair them up together. But at the same time, he's really concerned because he takes care of his sister, and the thing that he did is in the past, and he's different now, and he's changed. He shouldn't be, held to things in his past. This film deals a lot with like trauma, and there's a lot of heavy topics here. And uh, so they get to finally stay because they found a home for Piper, and it's with Sally Hawkins, who plays Laura, I believe. And she has agreed to take, originally she only agrees to take in Piper, but she agrees to take them both in because basically Piper doesn't want to go anywhere without her brother. So especially after such a loss, they'd already lost their mother and now they're just orphans. So they want to stick together. Um, and so they end up in this house, and there's already a kid there, which is Ollie, who is weird. We're gonna go with weird. Uh, Laura herself doesn't seem like she would be the ideal foster parent because she's currently grieving the loss of her daughter. But I don't. But the film will answer the questions as we go along. But it does kind of make you question as you learn this information. You're like, is she the best? Anyway, and one of the things, I guess, that she wanted to bring in, or the film is like, oh, well, look at this nice lady, is that her daughter was blind and Piper is, and that's what matters to her, is helping this blind girl. You would think, remember, I'm a blind film critic, so eventually we're going to get to that. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm just trying to carefully navigate a description of this movie for you without spoilers, which is really hard. Um, so obviously things go south, and things are not as they seem. The film does kind of open with this like VHS tape thing that kind of lets you know that there's like a ritual where they're trying to bring somebody back from the dead. The film is called Bring Her Back. So, I mean, like, yeah, that's obviously going to be a part of it. It's not, again, by this time, if you get to the point where they're in the house, you've already figured out that at some point there's some level of resurrection that will be happening in this film. But, with what, with whom, how, will it be achieved? What is the cost? Those kind of things. That's the journey that you're on. Should you choose the mission? Should you choose to accept it? The audio description was fantastic because I was deeply unnerved the whole time. There are things that the Philippou brothers do here that I hope they have therapy. I've seen other critics compare this to Hereditary, which, critics love Hereditary. I did not that much. But they think that this is like the shit, like the darkest shit since Hereditary, if you're trying to figure out where on the scale of horror. I think it's the weirdest and darkest horror movie I've seen I don't know. I really can't. There's and I think it's because we brought in the blind girl. There's something that's really unnerving about things happening to children too. And it's like there's some things that we're okay with. There are other things that we're like, "Oh no, but not to kids." Like there was a lot of backlash to Terrifier 3 because of some stuff. I didn't see it, but I just know of a sequence that some people who weren't quite ready for the trajectory of that franchise, I think, and just thought, "Oh, this thing is popular. I'll go see that." That they weren't 100% on board with choices made in that film because there were choices that happened to kids. So, there are certain things that we just don't like, and the younger they are, too, the worse it is. And the two, not Billy, the two others are younger. So, and they have things happen to them that are not great in the course of the movie. Sally Hawkins is phenomenal here. She's been phenomenal in so many things. I should have looked it up. I believe she's an Oscar nominee. I fully believe she is. Um, and I I think she might be a two-time Oscar nominee is the problem. I can't remember if she was nominated for Blue Jasmine or not in supporting actress against Cate Blanchett. I think she was. You'd think that I'm supposed to have everything. No, I don't have everything memorized. But just a phenomenal performance from her. Um, and just walking, she has to be everything throughout the whole movie. She is so many different levels as she interacts with everybody. It's like she's a different person for everybody. And it's very, very odd. And she navigates it perfectly. It's brilliant casting. Um, Billy does a great job too in this sort of navigating the film and reacting to things appropriately. He's given a backstory that the film is like, oh, by the way, in case you weren't having a bad enough day, we're gonna rip this band-aid off. And then you're just like, oh, fuck me. Uh, just- so there's some stuff that you'll learn about his past um, that sort of dives into the answer to the question of what was it that was in his past that the social worker was sort of referencing to, that he had ever done anything bad before. And like there's like there are reasons for it, and good God. Anyway, and poor little Ollie, like the things that that boy has to go through are also just Jesus. I kind of think like directing a child like that and being like, we need you to do this. And then like, then he's going to grow up to be an adult. And it's like, that's a really hyper realized childhood, you know? You're supposed to be sort of enjoying life at that. There are some things that you shouldn't be asked to do or have somebody explain to you. We'd like you to do this. Um, okay. So I think I've sort of navigated a lot of it. There are so many unnerving moments. The thing that really struck me, and again, a little bit of a spoiler, we already talked about how the dad dies. So the dad dies, and not great. It's not a great scene it's not a clean, like, just didn't wake up, you know? Um, and the one who finds him is Piper, and the description on that was so terrifying and heartbreaking at the same time, because at first you're like, well, she's this little girl and she's finding her dad dead. And he's worse than she's able to understand. And she gives him like mouth to mouth, and it's like there's so many times there are a couple times that people touch mouth to mouth in this movie that are very unnerving, but um there's another mouth to mouth situation where you're like, oh god. uh and God, it made me think. And there are times when her vision is sort of the thing, and like she can't really see what's happening around her, And as a blind person, it made me think like, what would I be like in a horror movie? I was like, what would I be like if anything like realistic happened around me? I kind of think about that kind of stuff a lot. Like I'm like, what if somebody's in the corner just being really creepy? Like what if, what if I don't notice? And I think I have like navigated perfectly so far, but I had a lot of anxiety while watching Bring Her Back for like an entirely different subset of reasons. Because every time this girl was in a situation and they were like, oh, she's not really aware what's going on, I was like, I don't think I would be either. Fuck. Fuck shit. Anyway, um, and it just made me, I I can't with this movie. Um, and I just I so those are my thoughts. From my blind perspective, um, it's really weird. So I could see and now I can't. So that's one of the reasons why I try to advocate for audio description a lot, is because I know the gap that blind people now have, having been sighted and having seen thousands of movies up until the point that I lost my vision. So I talk about a lot, closing that gap with audio description, making sure that every film is accessible, because they're not. We still haven't worked our way through the classics, you know, and thinking about like what is the context that we're using audio description in, and because there are a lot of visuals that need to be described. But then when you put someone in a horror movie situation, there are a lot of things that are just horrifying to go through. Like if you think about, for example, The Shining, right? Let's say the boy in The Shining was blind and everything was happening around him, but he couldn't see any of it. It like that film has so many things happening in it, in and around it. And even though he's kind of underutilized in the beginning and it kind of like grows on him and it's more of like Jack Nicholson's experience towards the beginning. Um, I mean, he does eventually experience shit, and it like if he couldn't see it, you know, it changes so much in horror movies when you have a character who can't see what the threat is or see something that would make the audience more uncomfortable. I think Sarah did a lovely job here, and God love her. Child actress, young adult actress, whatever, coming into this role. So kudos, young lady. I think you're brilliant. I actually think all of the kids here were fantastic and brilliant, and Sally's amazing. It's a really well directed film. It is unforgettable. Unforgettable is the word. I don't like it, but I mean, I don't love the movie, but I respect it on every level as a film. Like I don't need to see it again. I don't need to put myself through this twice. It's not something that I'm super excited for again. Uh, I don't. The rewatchability is really low, which kind of factors a little bit into my grade. Um, if I'm just talking about the actual product, I think the Philippa brothers benefit a lot from. There are little things that you could call plot holes that they never really address, that they just kind of jump over and they don't talk about. So you could ask questions about like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, that doesn't make any sense because of this. See, like they lay out the rules like any good horror movie does. And some of the rules just don't make any sense. So, and there were choices too. There were choices the Philippa brothers made, but they don't make sense. So there are like a couple of things that stand out to me that are lead into spoiler territory that I would not. But there are moments, there are scenes, there are imageries here that will stick with you forever. This is very unnerving, and not in like a fun substance way, where it's just like a lot of body horror. This is unnerving in a, I honestly can't remember the last, maybe like Raw. Uh, I don't know, something that just makes you go, ugh. Supposedly there have been reports of people vomiting in theaters, and a lot of walkouts. I don't know if there were walkouts in my I'm blind. So I don't, nobody nobody was like, fuck this, and then like left the theater. So the funny thing is, like, nobody laughed. Like, it was like dead silent the whole movie. I could have been in the movie. And that's the unnerving thing too, is like you're watching this unfold and you're like, I don't even know who I'm in here with. Oh my God. What if I'm in my own horror movie? So ever since I've seen this, I haven't been okay. So I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now. I hope you're happy that you've heard my cause forever. I hope you think you're clever. Anyway, bring her back or don't. It's up to you. It's brilliant. It's a one-timer for me. I can't give it an A grade because there are actual problems with the script. Performances are brilliant. Might be an A minus if I was able to get over some things. But I just generally with A minus movies, I want to see them again. And this movie doesn't have that for me. So I'm gonna give it a B plus. It's just still a really positive grade. This might be, even at a B plus, I might have the nerve to call it the best horror movie of the year, because it sort of encapsulates a different interpretation of what horror is without being scary. Like in like boo, like it's not like that. It just like I can feel me like talking about it. I don't usually get this way with movies. So yeah. And it's funny because I wanted to go for Sarah. I was like, oh, there's a blind girl in the movie. She's like in a lead role. I have to go see this. And normally I would have skipped this. I would not have gone to theaters for this, but I was like, oh man, there's a blind girl in the lead. I want to talk about it. I gotta get my thoughts out there early. And I'm gonna need therapy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys maybe on the other side if you bring me back. If I do this ever again after this. If I ever watch another movie again. Yeah.